morning. Give them a round of applause. That is your Seaside Band, and they are amazing. Thank you, guys. So, good morning. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. There's one mom. Okay, thanks. All right, so it is my honor to greet you this morning on this beautiful day. We have so many wonderful things planned for you today, Sunday. And first and foremost, we will start off with welcoming our practitioner this morning who is holding the light, holding the consciousness of this morning's message, and his name is Dave Kennedy, so give him a round of applause. And that is Dave Kennedy. Thank you, Dave Kennedy. So he will be walking over towards the prayer center, and you'll notice there are two boxes. The top one is for your prayers. If there's something really good happening, go ahead and place your prayers for the thankings of your blessings. If there's anything else going on that you want prayer, our practitioners are praying over them all week long. So for Mother's Day, we decided that we would launch something specifically for all the mothers that plan things in their lives. So we have a video from Reverend Christian, because if Reverend Christian can do it, you can too. Hey, Christian.
Hey, Catherine. How you doing?
Good. I heard we had a new feature on our website.
We do, and thank you for creating a wonderful, simplistic calendar for us. We thought it'd be a great day to launch it on Mother's Day, since moms tend to be the ones who make the plans around the house, at least in my house. And so we love you so much, wanted to make it easy. What you've done is you've made it very simple. And what people like to say around here is, if Christian can do it, you can too. And what I want you to know is I can do that. So what you want to do is go to our website, which is seasidecenter.org. And you go to the top where the bars are under calendar, and you go ahead and press calendar. You go to what's on. And then what will happen is our brand new calendar will come up. Let's say you want to go to my class, The Power of the Word, on Tuesday nights. You would go ahead and press that. You'd see it's 6:30. And notice how all the classes are color-coded that particular color. And it would tell you all about the class, when it is, what it's cost, how many weeks. And you could register if you wanted by just pressing there, and you go right online and register for this fabulous class that I'm teaching. But actually, it's too late for you to join it now. But what you can do now, if you wanted, is you could go to Lisa Nichols. She's coming to Seaside, as you know, June 12th. It's a Friday night. So what you would want to do is you'd navigate back to the calendar, and you'd press, instead of May, to the next month, which is June. And you would go down to June 14th, which is the date Lisa Nichols is coming to Seaside. And you wanted to find out more about her. Well, you'd go to Lisa Nichols. You'd press that right there. And sure enough, a Healing for Abundance, Lisa Nichols, on Friday night, June 14th. And if you wanted to get tickets, you could do it right there by pressing that. And it's that simple on how to navigate our new calendar, sign up for classes or seminars. So enjoy that. Go and experience our wonderful new feature, which we are launching today officially on Mother's Day. And happy Mother's Day to all you moms.
He deserves a round of applause. He only got very minimal guidance from anyone on how that calendar works. So if Reverend Christian can do it, you definitely can do it too. Let's see what else we have. Deep Sound Meditation is starting every Monday in the summer on June 3rd at 6:30. And June 2nd is graduation here at Seaside. We have 2 ministerial graduates along with 55 practitioners graduating, including Seaside's Marianne Barlow, Michelle DeGaris, and Rosemary Ramirez. This day is filled with great music and uplifting words. And there's a reception in the garden, so graduation starts at 4 p.m. You can also check out our calendar. The information will be on there. Next Saturday, we have the men's breakfast, May 18th at 8 a.m. Just a mental note, there is a men's breakfast every third Saturday of the month. And you can see Ray Holder for more information on that. And the calendar. We have May 17th. If you love to dance and music makes you happy, you'll love this. Spirit Groove and Dance with the Seaside Sisters from 10 to 11 a.m. this Friday. We also have Gourmets for God, and I understand that this is the last Sunday that you can sign up. I remember last year I did a Gourmets for God where I went to a tea party. I've always wanted a tea party with like actual human beings, and I actually got to experience this. And I still have my unicorn coffee cup from that day. It's a wonderful time to create relationships with other individuals here in the Seaside community. So sign up, create the event that you've always wanted to create. See Susan in the family room after second service, after this service. And Lisa Nichols. So Lisa Nichols is an author and one of the most requested motivational speakers. Her global platform has reached 30 million people, and she will be at Seaside on June 14th. We have a little sneak peek for you right now.
It's a life of hustle and survival. I remember when my ninth grade teacher asked me, Lisa, what do you want to be when you grow up? And see, I have to fight the Harlem Crip 30s every day to get home from school, so I looked at her and said, alive. I took an English class, I got a fail in English. And my English teacher said in front of the entire class, Lisa, you have to be the weakest writer I've ever met in my entire life. Don't worry, my story ends good. Don't feel sorry for me. I got 7 under my belt. And then the same year, my speech teacher said, after giving me a D-, I knew I had an A in speech. Like, come on. He obviously didn't agree with me. He gave me a D- and said, quote unquote, Miss Nichols, I recommend you never speak in public, that you get a desk job. So here's the beauty of that story. Other people's perception of you ain't none of your business. Everything you've ever been through, sat through, rose through, cried through, prayed through, everything is a setup for your next best season. And the way you forgive the perceivingly unforgivable, the way you love the perceivingly unlovable, the way you accept what seems to be unacceptable, the way you embrace after you've been betrayed, the way you do that is the way you will lead us. Your light belongs to everyone who'll be illuminated because you were bold enough and obedient enough to let your light shine. Yes, yes? Yes.
Yes, yes? All right. So if that's what you can get in 1 minute and 30 seconds, imagine what happens with an evening with Lisa Nichols. So get your tickets in the family room right after the service. With all that being said, you may now stand and greet your neighbors.
We've done before, brought to us recently by Gary Lynn Floyd. We love when he's here, and he introduced this song to us, and so we kept it. Sing with me. In the name of love, with the heart of grace overflowing us, decorate this place as it is below, so it is above. May we always stand of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. That's right, Seaside. In the name of love, may we always be seeking out the best till we all are free, living in a world we've been dreaming of, where we stand as one in the name of love. That's right. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. That's right.
right. Hey, they are sounding good. Hey, Rebecca, what are you doing for Mother's Day? I see your mom sitting right here. Hey, we've been loving you, calling you back. My goodness.
She's going to come with me. I have a gig up in Laguna Beach. There's going to be a Mother's Day brunch, and she's going to join me.
Nice. How wonderful. Well, thank you for starting and kicking it off here. And welcome home, Leslie. We've missed you. So happy Mother's Day. And thanks for sharing your kid with us. Rebecca Jade, we love you.
I love you.
Good morning, Seaside. Woo, what a joy it is to be here with you on Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all you moms. It's a joy that you chose to share this day with us. Your presence just makes what is about to unfold magical and wonderful. And what I know really helps is just putting Spirit first. And we have a great prayer today. One of our practitioner interns, professor at Palomar University. And this is Denise Rudy. Take us to that deeper place.
Okay, good morning. I ask you now to join me in the silence. We are gathered here this morning to celebrate in unity the presence of God in our lives. For we know that there is just one power and one presence in the universe, and that is God, and it is good. And we know that we are divinely connected to that power, and we have the amazing ability to create miracles in our lives and the lives of others. And as we move into our service this morning, we are grateful for the experience to strengthen and deepen our faith and receive the words of encouragement from Dr. Christian on this beautiful Mother's Day.
Breathe in, let the power of love fulfill you. Breathe out, let the troubles of life be gone. Release all the worries you have for tomorrow. Look within, let's begin as one. Breathe in, let the power of love fulfill you. Breathe out, let the troubles of life be gone. Release all the worries you have for tomorrow. Look within, let's begin as one.
Thank you, budding practitioner Denise Rudy, for starting us in such a sacred place, and our famous Rebecca Jade. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning. I'm Reverend Christina Tillotson, and it's my honor to again welcome you, especially if you're here for the first time. We have a packet for you out in the back with a CD and all kinds of gift certificates to the bookstore to show how much we appreciate you being here, especially on this Mother's Day where we celebrate this light and this love of mothers. And whether you're a mother, whether you wanted to be a mother and couldn't be a mother, or didn't want to be a mother and that's great, or you have a mother, whether they're here on this planet or not, we just acknowledge you and welcome you. And if you're like me and a cat mother, or if you're a dog mother or a mother of dragons, whatever you are, thank you so much for being here on this sacred day where Dr. Christian's going to explore the healing power of love. So the reading I've chosen for today is from Dr. Christian's book, Joyous Living Journal. Mom is the name for God in the mouths of children, yet there are no words that express the power and courage for describing her love. Mothers take care of what they can and somehow have learned to trust a higher power to work and guide their children when they can't. Maternal love somehow is the catalyst to believe one can do something beyond what one has done before, because every child who comes into this world is a new expression of God with infinite possibilities. And moms are entrusted to be the first visionary of what's possible for our lives. So let's go into prayer. Going to that place of recognizing that there's only that power, that presence, that divine love that bursts all universes out of the force of its love into expression. That love that holds the universe together, that is the glue that holds the universe together through and as all of its creation, from the tiniest atom to the farthest galaxy, from every single drop in the ocean to every animal to every human to every being in all universes. It is all one. It is all that light and that love and that healing power of God, of spirit, of that love force through and as all of the universe. And that is who I am. And each one here and each one coming in from the podcast are expressions of that light and that love of spirit in human form in this sacred time and place right here and right now. And so I'm knowing for this sacred time together that divine feminine love, that womb of love, is absolutely created out of this sacred time together and bursts forth into everyone's lives, acknowledging not only mothers who are here on the planet, but mothers who have gone on to the other side, acknowledging all of the love and the time and the energy that it takes to grow a human being into the image and likeness of spirit right here and right now. I'm so grateful for this sacred time together and for this love that is bursting forth through each one here as I release this word to the law, knowing that it's now done in perfect love. And so it is. Amen.
Good morning, Seaside. Good morning. It is my honor to introduce our guest artists. And as you can see, I'm putting up 2 microphones because we have 2 very special guests coming up today. They originally started as a family a cappella group, and they actually were on the Gong Show. And they went on, they continued to sing together, and their mother-daughter duo, they just performed at Gator by the Bay yesterday. They did 2 shows for Gator by the Bay. So they perform all over, singularly and together. And Sharifa is actually going on her first time going overseas, singing in Spain very, very soon. So she's going to, so we pray for her on her safe travels and just to have a wonderful experience. And her mother, Deja, has also been singing with Sue Palmer for like 10 years. So we have some very, very talented people here this morning, and they are here together to bless us. Please, let's give a warm Seaside welcome to Deja and Sharifa.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
my holy white robe down by the riverside. Sing it again. Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. I'm gonna put on my holy white robe down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. Sing along. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Come on now. I'm gonna put on my holy white robe down by the riverside. Sing it again. Down by the riverside. Oh yeah, down by the riverside. I'm gonna put on my holy white robe down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. Come on. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Down by the riverside. Oh yeah, yeah. Down by the riverside. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day.
Hey, that is Disha Marie and Sharifa. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm being churched here this morning. I love that. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Hey, thanks. That's nice. We're supposed to be doing that for you. Anyway, oh, wow, that was good. Down by the riverside. That was good. Anyway, hey, this morning's message is the heart of healing. And as you know, this year we have committed to speaking about healing all week long. And the heart, I think, is where it's going on. I think that's where it's happening. I think that's the spot of transformation. I think that is the place of our vulnerability and our openness. And when we stop to listen to our beingness, we find that it's a lot of times it's not up here, but it's right here. And I share that with from my family experience with my mom. I was just blessed to have a wonderful one. It was just terrific. And I love Mother's Day because it gives me some time to remind me to just stop and be with Mom. Though she's not in this world anymore, so if anyone's mom is still around, I encourage you to pick up that phone and talk to her today, or show up and have her make her dinner again. No. Moms like that. But anyway, you know, I have a picture on my altar. I opened up my door this morning. I just looked at the picture of Mom, and her eyes were still twinkling, and her smile was still there. And it just reminded me how love transcends time. You know, it's like there she was, still loving me up. How it transcends time and space, and that love, I believe, truly is the essence that connects us beyond form. That love is what brought us together in this world, and there's no doubt in my mind it will lead us together after this world. And so, if we can learn to follow that heart space, that place of love, we're able to experience those experiences of love in our life. And I personally think when there's a good relationship between kid and mom, that's the highest expression of love that we can have on this planet. It is an expression of God made manifest at its highest vibration. And I'm so grateful I had a mom that was able to show me, share with me, and do that. And so I love Mother's Day because I get to be with Mom. She kicked me out on the stage by the age of 3. I was on the stage of the Hollywood Palladium already performing. So, it's why I'm a natural ham. Thanks, Mom. But anyway, one of the things she used to share is, Christian, I'd complain or gripe about it like any kid was sometimes doing. She said, Christian, if you aren't having fun, you're kind of missing the point. It's like, what do you do in this life thing if you're not having fun? You're missing the point here. So this is the key to get it a little bit better for you. Find out what it is you like to do, and you do more of that. And find out what it is you don't like to do, and you do less of that. And it can be that simple in your life, because I'll tell you what's going on right now in your life, what's happening right now is a result of all your past thoughts, and what you're feeling right now, that's what's going to be creating your future. So you might as well get to that place and realize you can enjoy life, that it can be filled with blessings and gifts, and step into that. My mom used to work with clients. She'd see 40 people a week. She did this for 30 years, and one of the things she would do is have them, okay, what is it? How do you see your life? What is your vision? What is it that you see when you go to that quiet place? Begin to see it, speak it, verbalize that, and the more you verbalize your new story, the more you begin to believe your new story. The more you believe your new story, the more you're going to have evidence in your life to support your new story. And so it comes down to, hey, you got a choice. What am I going to do with what's going on in my life? Because I'll tell you what's going on in our life. Things are going to keep happening in life. It's like a river. Your experiences never end. You notice that? It's like an unending river. You have experience after experience. What are you going to do with this? And it starts off when you're little. The story Mom used to like to tell about this little grandbaby. I think she was dreaming at that point. But she was about one. This little baby girl, 1 year old, just learning to walk. Still that wobbly stage. Can he stand? Can't stand. And so Grandma went to her daughter's house, and the parents and Grandma, you probably know this one. They would just sit around and watch this little 1 year old try to walk for the first time. Yeah, you know that. They thought that was fun. The little kid probably, man, stop looking at me. But anyway, so this little grandbaby, made her way out into the foyer of the hall. I guess that's the foyer, and came across something she had never seen before: a front door mat. Now, stepping up to that thing, that was a pretty scary experience. She didn't know what she was going to do with this. So, like any good little grand girl she cried, and out it came, because there it was, this mat. She had never seen anything like it, and it was in her way. Grandma comes running over here to see and kind of sizes up the situation, and comforts her little girl, and then she steps up onto the mat, and she puts her hand out, and the little grandbaby looks and kind of, Grandma's up there. It's okay. Should I? She's dealing with more than just a doormat. She's dealing what we've all had to experience in our life, and that is the fear of something new. And she decided if Grandma was there, then I could do it. She took hold of Grandma's hand, and she stepped up to that mat. It was just silence for a moment. And then she just started giggling with great delight. And now she owned that mat. She kept walking up on that mat all day long. That mat was hers to just show the world, I can do this. And so I want to ask you, what doormats do you have in your life? Not the doormats that people wipe their feet on, but the doormat that is your fear, that is your challenge that you've got to deal with. Because this river of life is going to keep bringing those doormats into your life and your experience. And we may not have the grandma's hand to take, but I'll tell you what, there are many different expressions of that maternal love and energy that is ever available in our life. It's God reaching out, that mother, father, God presence, that life force saying, hey, step on up. You can do that. Take that step, but you got to listen more to your heart than to your head. Because your head has this fear. Said, that's a big mat. You've never been up on that hill. You don't know anybody who's been up there. You can't do that. Well, I'll tell you what. Your heart is a healing, energetic expression of life, and you've got to learn to listen to that. And this isn't like news from me. I mean, the Egyptians used to believe that the heart was the seat of one's spirit. This is where the life and the energy and the thoughts and the emotions and the feeling came through the heart and the totality of one's being. And I have this papyrus in my office that I got when I was in Egypt for my mom, actually. And then when she died, I took it back. But in a nice way. But it was the papyrus of Ani. And it is the story of Ani having died and gone to the chamber. The stories from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, where all of a sudden Anus, the god Anus, is measuring Ani's heart against the weight of a feather. And Thoth is sitting there taking down the chart. And you may have seen this picture where there is this person who's just died. You wouldn't realize that because they look pretty good still. And they had their heart taken out of them. And on the scale, on one side is the heart and the other is the feather. And the story goes that if your heart balances out the feather, that you're able to move on to heaven, because the gods didn't want anybody bringing any of the heaviness, any of their old baggage, any of their stuff. You know, this river of life that keeps passing, sometimes you got to let go of the stuff so you don't drown in it, so you can be fresh and so you can be new. And they only wanted individuals stepping into heaven who were free. And I read from the trial of the heart a new aspect of the story that I'd never heard, which I found interesting. And if the heart is lighter than the feather, I never heard that one before. You don't get to go to heaven either, because that means that you haven't had enough experience, that you haven't been in those life-challenging situations. You haven't had that maturity. You have sat on the sidelines. You have avoided this thing called life. So if it's lighter than a feather, that means you haven't been in the game. And if it's heavier, well, they sure don't want that which has been clogging up your world, that is filling you with the junk and stuff and the log of your discontent. They want that left behind so you can step into that place. Because all of those experiences kind of create the container for your life, because who you are is not those experiences, right? We've talked about the Buddhists and their witness consciousness, are able to see what's going on and not be impacted or affected by the sickness, the challenges, the constrictions, the disease, the mistakes, and those kind of things. There's something that is part of you that is greater than that can observe that. Exactly what it is, I'm not sure, but the analogy that if who you are, let's say, is water, and it gets poured into a glass, that water takes on the shape of the glass. And so that glass is your stories, your personality, the stuff that you have done. And there's many different glasses, just like there's many different kinds of moms in this world. And that glass, I don't know, it can be a beer glass, it can be a wine glass, it can be a water glass, whatever it is. But the essence of water doesn't change. You can break the glass, and who you are is still who you are. It is the glass that is broken, and sometimes the shape or the judgments or that which has contaminated the heart or the experience or that has not allowed you to flow fresh down the river in life begins to need breaking in your life so you can be able to be available. You're not that glass. You're spirit expressing. We talk about how we come into this body, but you're not the body, right? Well, I'll tell you what, I just happen to have this wonderful little clip that can help explain it clearer. So next time I ask you, we're not this body, you guys are going to go, right. I mean, come on. That's kind of one of our fundamental things, is that you're the water, you're the essence, you're the life force, you're that love that Spirit is manifesting, whether it is in the maternal form, whether it is in whatever it is. This body gives us the vehicle to operate through this world, but you're the water. You are that which is... Bruce Lipton put it really well. And he's this wonderful cell biologist who really is leading edge within the New Thought movement these days. And you want to run this? It's about 2 minutes.
Our identity is not inside our body. Our identity is picked up by protein antennas on the surface of our cells. The body is like a television set, and there's a broadcast coming in. And the relevance about that is sometimes the television breaks, you say the television's dead. And I say, yeah, but is the broadcast still there? There's a number of studies of people who have heart transplants. And when they receive a transplant for somebody else, they start to pick up characteristics of the person who donated the heart. Now, some people say that's cellular memory. As a cellular biologist, I think you're giving great credit of memory to a cell. A cell is lucky to remember if it's a liver cell or a skin cell, not if it likes chicken McNuggets and beer. But the story I just want to emphasize is this: a young girl received a heart from another young girl. And once the heart was implanted, just shortly after, she had very vivid nightmares of being murdered. And they repeated themselves every night. And so finally, the doctor said, well, where did this heart come from? And it was from another girl who was murdered. And the relevance about that was the nightmares were so vivid that when the police questioned her about what she had seen, they were able to catch the killer. The point was, the heart cells are still having the self antennas of the person who has died. And so as long as the heart was still present, it was downloading the identity into that heart. And the relevance is, yes, the girl's dead, but she's still there. Why? Because if the heart has the receptors, it still shows that there's a source that's feeding this individual person. Between all this particular data, it is profoundly important to understand the nature of some quantum physics, energy fields, and identity, and that we are not in this body. We are being broadcast to this body. As a scientist, and not spiritual for 40 some years, and then in 1 minute after understanding the nature of the membrane, it's like 2 + 2 is 4. I'm not in here. It was a...
There's science. I'm not in here. That's the thing. This, he goes on to talk about, is our virtual bodysuit that we have put on so we can have the experience of the sensations of this dimension, of this plane, and broadcast it back to the collective field in which it all resides, that we're all part of. But we end up with this sense of differentiation, thinking this is who I am, forgetting that I'm part of something greater. From the scientific perspective, he's not talking God, but he's talking about a field that we're all part of that projects, and we project back to it, and that memory is ever available. It is not the glass, but it is the water. It is the projection. It is not the vehicle in which it is. And as one begins to grasp that there is more, we begin to allow your mind, your heart, your soul to open up to that which is beyond what the brain knows. That is the river of experience. Can I leave my log of knowledge behind so I can open up to what may be emerging here? Science is on the pressing edge of new information. I had the opportunity to do a radio show this week with Dr. Lynn McTaggart, and she is just extremely known globally at this point for her work with intention experiments. And what intention experiments is, she gets groups of individuals to hold a specific intention for something and together broadcast it into this field, into this energetic something that unites us all together. And what is amazing, she's done 27 major intention things where she has people in different continents around the globe focusing on creating peace for this particular time in the Middle East, or for things of that magnitude after 9/11, and very scientifically controlled experiments with data going in and data coming out. She says 26 out of 27 times there are peer-reviewed papers that substantiate there was something that moved in the direction of what that intention was. And she talks about how there is this field in which that we're all part of. And what's I found fascinating, that we ran out of time on the show, is she said, and the new science. Bruce Lipton talks about the new physics, where all of a sudden, you're living a life, and what you're living is what you've been programmed to live. And he said the new physics is you can reprogram, including at the cellular and the biological and the DNA and the hereditary level. This is scientifically being proven, that who you are is more than that. And so what Lynn was saying is that there is a new science that is emerging about the energetic field that we are all part of. And the medicine that we practice these days came out of the 1700s. Didn't they not? Is that not where science began? And the process and cause and effect, do this, you do that, you take care of, whatever's hurting, you make it better. Great value to that. And our science today is our religion. I mean, predating that, people believed in their Christianity or the Catholic Church, if you would, as much as they believed in science today. Yeah? I mean, that was the Inquisition. You didn't believe, you're in trouble. They 1,000 years ago, we were in the Middle East, trying to put our religion on the people who didn't believe like us. That religion was the science of their day. And 1,000 years earlier, you had the pantheon of gods, right? They lived in Mount Olympus. You had to win the favor of the gods if you wanted something. They believed in that as much as the Christians believed in their God, as much as the people of today believe in the science. But I'll tell you what is happening is that we are beginning to discover the physical is not where it's at. It is this energy that moves through all individuals. It is that which connects us to this field that you can pray for somebody here in San Diego and they can be healed in Chicago, or they could be healed in New York. We might say that's the mind of God, the one mind of God. Science is talking about we're all connected. It doesn't matter what words you use, but what is essential is to realize that there is a progression of understanding, and it is within this field that we talk about love, is that vibration that allows me to still be connected to mom, and all of a sudden if I realize that she's not this physical vehicle that was around, she is as alive and dynamic and energetically available to me now as she was then, because there is just one field in which we're all part of. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our stuff here, and he said, hey, it's not a revelation to me. It's just an accumulation, a compilation of what seems to be a thread of truth. He said, when we want to consciously enter the upper atmosphere of thought and download it, per se, to the lower mind with a greater vision, we bring the greater vision down. And effect follows cause as day follows night. You want to consciously enter that atmosphere, that higher consciousness, and bring it in, and that higher vision. That's what we can begin to allow to guide us. See, we're more than just the mind, and the mind is a wonderful thing. We lined up to get one of these virtual suits that included a brain that is fabulous. But what happens is if the brain runs not amok, but it just takes over and says, hey, I'm not listening to this heart. Those Egyptians didn't know what they were talking about. That soul, spirit stuff. I'm just listen to me. I'm in charge here. It's missing an important component. It's called the spirit. It's called the love. It's called the essence of our being. It is the water. It is the life of ourself. And so, a mind without heart can be kind of cold. Looks, yeah, that's happened. Okay, that's too bad. Okay, what's next? Not very good. But then again, the heart, which is just all emotions and feelings without the discernment of the mind, is kind of a mess. It's never going to be good again. Whatever, it's misery. There you go. You got misery. But what we want is the integration of the mind and the heart. What we want to be able to experience the love and the healing power of the heart is to know that there is a mindful heart and a heartfelt awareness. And somehow we have lost that particular word in our jargon, in our vernacular, if you would. But it's an old word. The Japanese have a word for it. It's called kokoro, which means the heart and the mind intertwined. Their ideogram, the symbol they have for that is a picture of the heart and the mind that are intertwined. The Chinese have a word. It's called Xing, and it is mind, heart, now. Sanskrits have a beautiful word for it. I can't even begin to pronounce it for you, and so do the Tibetans have a wonderful word for it. I saw a word from the Columbia fishermen. It's like it's a thing that people recognize, and it's called sentipensance. I don't even know. Pensar, sentipensante. Sentipensante. That was close. Pensar, to think. Pensante. Sentipensante. That's the mind that's feeling and thinking together. There's something that realizes it is the combination of these two that make a difference, that allows us to be able to experience a greater freedom in our life and in our world. But what happens sometimes is that we just want spirit to come in and take care of things, And that's just the mind as opposed to the totality of our beings. It's about the experience. It is about the understanding. It is about the refreshing. It is about the integration. It is about being part of something bigger than is going on. And what happens is that when I work with people, oftentimes they want to experience change in their life. And here's the kicker, that people want to experience change and not have to change. Yeah, I mean, I like the way I am. I just want you to change everything else around me so I can have what it is that I really know that I am worthy of, entitled to, but I don't want to change. I don't want to let go of any of that baggage or that judgment or that condemnation, even though this river of experiences keeps hitting me, and though I keep coming up to this mat that I need to step up to, I need to lug my stuff with me. No, we've got to be in that place, but what happens is people begin to pray to God to do something for them, and that kind of prayer has its origins in paganism. When people used to go to, the weather gods, or used to go to the golden calf, or the god in the sky, or a god somewhere outside of themselves, and try to get the supernatural power to change things in their world. We have continued to emerge and evolve to a place where we recognize that we are part of this field and that we are this field. We're not all of this field, but what happens is I am this field, this expression, this life force. I am God, if you would, expressing. And the heart of this matter is there's something inside my inner being that has to begin to shift with that. And when I can realize that what I think I need isn't really what it is I need. Oh, yeah, okay. What you think you need really isn't what it is you think you need. What it is you need is a greater realization of God. When you're able to have the realization and the heartfelt experience, not just the brainful experience, but the heartful experience, all of a sudden you have entered into that place. If you want to be a poet and write about bamboo, it said, go sit with the bamboo and become the bamboo. And then you can write as the bamboo feels. You're walking along the lake and you see the lake and you think about the lake. You stop, you contemplate the lake, the water is beautiful. It's not good. But you know what? Until you move through your fear and plunge in, you're really not going to know what it's like to be wet in that lake. You can think about it, but it is the combination of that experience. Until you enter into that place and give up, there's something outside of me that is supposed to supernaturally fix my world. I'll tell you what, you go to God first and everything is added unto you, is what there's an old saying, seek ye first the kingdom of God and everything's added. Have that God realization. Then you don't need to tell that intelligence that guides the universe, guides the galaxies, created these virtual bodies, what it needs to do to correct my life. I begin to be available for that divine shift. But I'll tell you what happens is as I begin to talk with this and people on their evolutionary path, they're no longer caught up with the gods of Olympus, and they're no longer, caught up with some of the old fundamental perspectives of spirit. But as we begin to move into this other one, say, hey, you know what? You're part of this field, this loving field. Call God His love. This heart that is moving through more than just your mind. It's the totality of your essence that is outside the receptors of those things that are on your cells that Bruce Lipton was so brilliantly talking about, and though I'm not sure what it was. There's what I did get though from it is there's something outside that if the receptors are gone, that it still continues to broadcast. As we enter into that place, I can let go of my stories, but if we don't let go of the stories and I stand in front of that doorman and say, I'm not going there, sometimes the old stuff comes up. It's like saying that your spirit expressing. Some people might say, that's blasphemy. That's shameful. That's hypocrisy. And where's that shame stuff come from? And how do we get that? Well, I don't know, but sometimes, possibly, there was a parent somewhere saying to some little kid, shame on you for beating up on your brother. Shame on you for not coming home when you were supposed to. And all of a sudden, the shame begins to move into that cellular level, into the deeper resources of the memory. And we begin to come up against something that we have done that may have not been as gracious as we can be. And we're feeling kind of bad about it. All of a sudden, guilt can begin to slip in. This sense of shame. Worked with somebody recently who put her child up for adoption about 10 years ago and still is going through the guilt and the shame of that. Where'd that come from? When you made the highest and best decision that you could at that point. You know, someone going through the shame of their relationship after all these years, busting up, and the shame that is there, or someone who was not faithful within their relationship, and the shame that came with that, or someone who may not have been honest in business, and the shame or the guilt that surrounds that. It's heavy stuff. But I like, Joel Osteen uses this. Instead of shame on you, he says, you got to get shame off you. You know? Shame off you. Not saying frivolously, oh, what you did, well, no big deal. No, not at all. You still got to deal with the messes that you have created in your life. You know, you got to deal with that maybe turmoil that has been created, but you don't have to do it from a place of feeling guilt and feeling shame. I messed up. You know what? But I'm in this world doing this sense thing, and I'm doing the best I can, and maybe I didn't do so good there, but you know what? I'm choosing now to do better. Shame off me, because I have a higher mission and a higher purpose that I have got to do, because I want to experience love. I want to experience that vibrational connection with those that have gone before and those that have yet to arrive, and we're all connected. And while I'm holding this baggage and this judgment and this condemnation, and I'm moving down this river of experiences that keep hitting me, and I'm not letting go, I'm not available to be released from that. You know, my heart is too heavy. It's never going to tilt the scale in the right direction. People say, Christian, you think God will ever forgive me? Well, for one, do you really think you surprised God? This infinite intelligence, this omniscient. Wow, Christian, I didn't see that one coming. You know, it doesn't work like that. It's not, will God forgive you? Will you forgive yourself? Because that is the programming that goes into the cellular level, into your brain, into your energetic fields. That is what you cast before you that keeps coming back like bread upon the waters. It keeps coming back into your life. That is what we have to work on. And when we're playing in that love vibration, anything unlike it can fall away, and I can continue to create from a higher place and be a greater contributor to this field in a positive, light-filled kind of way. But if I'm holding on to this heavy stuff of judgment and condemnation, I'm not available for that which is greater, that wants to show up in my life. I've got to be willing to step free from that. You know, Nina Majani, when she was here, she shared a beautiful story of her death and the clinical, recording of that in the machine she was hooked up to, and how they all stopped, and then how they all came back together, and we know the story. But one of the things that stuck with me was, like, she said she entered into a warehouse, in a sense, where a warehouse only before, through her meditations or prayer, she had a flashlight and she could only see, a little bit. Maybe a picture on the wall, maybe this image that's scared, or what, it's dark. You only see a little bit. You don't know what's lurking outside of that beam. But when she died, or the body stopped, it was as if someone flipped the switch on in the warehouse and she could see everything all at once. It wasn't a very scary picture. There was pictures on shelves or books over here. People, she could see it all. And it was like, it wasn't scary. And she merged into the total expression of it. And the things she felt guilty about, is like it all was no longer an issue. It was just everything was understood, and it was good. And that's what is available to us when we are able to move into that place. But we've got to be willing to say, you know what, I'm looking at this mat that looks enormous that I've never stepped onto before, or this let go that doesn't make sense to me, but I'm willing to do it. It opens us up to something to birth itself in a greater way. Now, Valerie Carr, wonderful speaker of inspiration, and just a wonderful warrior for this earth and women's rights. Callie actually had her scheduled to come down here at one time. It would have been great. But something she said that I just love, she said, the darkness that you're in, you got to roll away the stone, but you got to realize the darkness you're in just may not be the darkness of a cave, but rather it's the darkness of the womb. It's not a cave, it's a womb. You're about to be born. You're not ready to be sealed off, locked up, dead, gone. That's it. With the opening, she says, breathe and push. Breathe and push. That's how you push yourself to that new place. That's where you find the gumption to step up higher. That is where you find what it takes that is necessary to do something you never thought was possible. But I got to tell you, the power of love is going to give you that. I just was reading an interesting story. It was in Mark Nepo's book, and it was from 9 months prior to World War II, in the dark gray days, and the occupation was, it was clear it was going to be taking over Germany, and the Holocaust was a wave that was not going to be stopped. A lot of the parents from Germany and mostly Jewish parents, but also Poland and Czechoslovakia and a couple of the other countries, they wanted to get all their children out of that country because they knew that they could not get out, but they wanted their children to be free. They tried to make arrangements with England, but their immigration policies would not let that happen. The Parliament came together and in a swift decision decided to drop the quota of how many people could come, immigrants could come into their country, and they dropped this thing that no child could come in unaccompanied, and they said, we will take, between 5,000 to 10,000 children. And what happened in those months leading up to World War II, the parents in these countries began to put their children on a train that became known as the Kinder Transport. Could you imagine the courage it would take for a parent to take their child, their 8, 9, 10-year-old, and put them on a train without them, and with all the courage to love them enough to say, you've got to be brave, honey, and I'll be seeing you soon, knowing darn well in their hearts that the probability of seeing their child was pretty small because they were going to a country that they haven't been to a family that they didn't know, but they knew that if they were to stay, they were in trouble. And the courage that those children loved their parents, or that's something enough that they were willing to get on the train with dad saying, okay, to his 10-year-old kid, you take care of your little baby and brother and sister now as you go. And they got on a train going who knows where, not knowing why they got on that train, moving across the continent, bumping around on a boat across the channel into England to families that couldn't even probably take care of themselves, but they loved enough to create another spot at their table to take care of a child that they didn't know. There are 10 to 15, I've read even 20,000 children that were sent across the channel at that point in the history. And the ones that didn't, a father who pulled his little daughter out the window, the story goes, she got to join him at Auschwitz. That was the power. That love could allow one to release that which they loved enough. Love shows up in many different ways, just as parents. There's many different ways in which we have parented. We have been mothers ourselves. There's something inside of us that can step up onto that mat when we're called to do that. But we've got to realize that there is a greater story than what our fear wants to tell us. That comes from here. There's something from that wonderful field of infinite possibilities that wants to emerge through the totality of your being, but you have got to be fresh enough and available enough and in love enough. You've got to be willing to know what that is. You've got to jump into the water to know what water is. You've got to be willing to fall in love to know what love is. And with that comes the pain. With that comes the beauty. But if you want to be able to flip on the switch in that warehouse, you've got to come to discover that that switch, that miracle, that thing I think I need is not outside. It's in here. I've got to give up my attachment to mediocrity, my acceptance of, okay, and begin to recognize there's something great. And that you are free, that you're not bound by the mistakes, that you need not embrace shame or guilt, no matter who tried to put it upon you, because you are a conduit, you are a broadcast system, you are that water of infinite possibilities, and there is something great and grand that wants to show through you, and it doesn't have to look like that person over there, it doesn't have to look like that one over there, and how you mother can be different than how you mother, and how you mother can be different than how you mother, but I got to tell you what, they're all expressions of that one energetic field that we call love, and love is an expression of God, is the highest expression of God. And as we are willing to be our uniqueness, God bless us together as we're on this path. And so I want to end this morning with this one last reading. And it came from a woman by the name of Amy Young, and you may have heard it. It's been around a while. It says, Happy Mother's Day. For all of you mothers, we celebrate you. And we celebrate all aspects, good and bad, of motherhood. So to those who experience loss through miscarriage, failed adoptions, of running away, we mourn with you. And those who walk the hard path of infidelity, fraught with pokes and prods and tears and disappointments, we walk with you. Forgive us when we say foolish things. We don't mean to make this harder than it is. To those who that are foster moms, mentor moms, and spiritual moms, we need you. To those who have warm and close relationships with your children, we celebrate you. And for those who have disappointment, heartache, and distance with your children, we sit with you. And to those who lost a child this year, we mourn with you. And to those who lost their mothers this year, we grieve with you. And to those who experienced abuse at the hands of your own mother, we acknowledge your experience. And to those who have lived through driving tests, medical tests, overall testings of motherhood, we are better for you having you in the midst. And to those who are single and long to be married and mothering your own children, we mourn that life has not turned out the way you longed for it to be. To those who step-parent, we walk with you on these complex paths. And to those who lavish love on their grandchildren, enjoy. And to those who envisioned lavishing love on their grandchildren, yet that dream is not to be, we grieve with you. And to those who have emptier nests, we grieve and rejoice with you. And to those who place children up for adoption, we commend you for your selflessness and remember how you hold that child in your heart. For this Mother's Day, we walk with you. For mothering is not for the faint of heart, and we have real warriors in our midst this day. We remember you, all of you. Happy Mother's Day. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring Sharifa and Disha Marie back to our stage.
Salvation back where there is love. I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll reach out my hand to you and have faith in all you do. Whenever you need me, I'll be there. I'll be there.
I'll be there to comfort you, build my worldly dreams around you. I'm so glad that I found you. I'll be there with a love that's strong. I'll be your strength. I'll keep holding on.
Let me fill your heart with joy and laughter. Togetherness, well, it's all I'm after. Just call my name. I'll be there. I'll be there to protect you within
my worldly dreams around you. I'm so glad that I found you. I'll be there with a love that's strong. I'll be your strength. I'll keep holding on.
If you ever find someone new, I know she better be good to you. 'Cause if she doesn't, I'll be there. I'll be there. Don't you know, baby, yeah, yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I'll be there, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just call my name. I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll be there, baby. You know I'll be there. Yeah, yeah. Just call my name and I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Don't you know, baby, yeah, yeah, I'll be there. You know I'll be there, yeah, yeah. Just call my name and I'll be there.
Thank you so much.
That is Sharifa and proud mama Disha Marie. Woo! Wow. Man, got some range there. Woo! I like that. So you guys haven't been here since last Mother's Day. You got to come back sooner. Yeah, I'm glad you are. Now you need to talk to Rebecca about that. We'll get you there. That's the key to Music at Seaside. Just fabulous. My goodness, I'm still, man, Spirit will be there. If we just know that Spirit is here. Spirit's in the house. Spirit is. That is that field. That is that love. It doesn't matter if the scientists call it what they want or the mystics. It's there. It's here. Oh, okay. I already did my talk. Get back, man. Guys got me excited. I feel like preaching again. Anyway, it's time for us to do our wonderful offering, a time where we have the opportunity to unite together in our givingness that allows us to journey through time and space, to be able to create this wonderful spot on holy ground, but it is the essence, it is the Spirit that is broadcasting through us, the abundance, the richness, the allness, and as we allow ourselves to be that expression, what we find is it's showing up in our life all over the place. But if we're coming from a place of constriction, hey, can I figure out how to get around this moment? Can I slip out the door too quick? Should I give with strings attached? No, you are the part of that wonderful broadcast of the abundant expression of life, acknowledging where it all comes from, which is God, where it is the source. It's not the employer. It comes through channels, and the channels are infinite. So I invite you to listen to your heart and your soul and know that Spirit is here now to fulfill whatever is stirring inside of you. And I want you to give from that overflowing kind of place, realizing you can't outgive the infinite. Think about that. You just can't. So you are the infinite expressing in this moment. Yes? Okay, I'd like to invite our ushers to come forward at this time as we take our gift from our heart and our soul and our spirit. And thank you to those who mail in your contributions when you can't be here on a Sunday. It's greatly appreciated. And those that practice the auto tithe, that regular systematic support from your world into Seaside, you've just been part of, hey, Seaside, feel free. This is my agreement. This is what I do every month, every week, however you set it up. That regularity is a great blessing to Seaside, but it's also to us because it is that regular systematic givingness to our source, the Spirit, that allows us to be in that place of comfort, of deep knowing in this, that it's Spirit. So with that, I share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that this truly is a blessed moment where the fullness of the divine unfolds its expression through each and every one of us. We become that divine outlet. We are that ever new shape of the glass, of the wonderful vibrations, the broadcast of the divine, and we bring forth that new frequency. We bring forth that new expression. For truly all things are made new, and I keep my mind on spirit. There's peace is what I get when I keep my mind on spirit. And so I continue to recognize and be that expression, that transparency, that conduit for the God expression made manifest in the world in which I walk, the life in which I live. I become that wonderful, abundant expression of life itself, and healing happens in my body and my mind and my affairs and the world around me, because that is the natural manifestation that comes from the divine realization. I give up trying to get Spirit to do something on my behalf, and I begin to be that wonderful place where the divine is realized and all is added to it. So with joy, we take the blessings that have graced our world at this time, and we send it forth back into the life, knowing that it brings that grace and that good to everyone it comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this moment that allows me to jump in and to know what it's like. And so it is. Amen. Together, let us say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. Your guys from Seaside. Nice job, guys. And so I stand before this bounty, and I can feel the love. I can feel the outpouring and the caring, the compassion, the sense of joy, for truly we're in this world to experience the joy, and being in a sense of freedom around our ability to give and to serve truly is an expression of that joy. And so with love we have given, with love it is received, it's handled with good stewardship, and it's put forth back into that flow, bringing that love and good to everyone that comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this moment and this opportunity to pause and to be that wonderful, abundant expression of life. And so it is. Amen. All right. Hey, this is Mark Sands. He is your board treasurer here at Seaside, keeping a good eye on all of us. Just got through the annual audit from the outside firm, and just bless you for your guidance and your prosperity consciousness you've brought this community. You're a gift to us all. Mark Sands. And my goodness, Sharifa and Disha Marie, bless you too for the wonderful music and the heart and the soul that you have brought us here. Yeah, and Rebecca, just a joy to be with you on Mother's Day with your mom in the house and to hear you two off doing a girls' day, watching her kiddo shine. That's just so beautiful. Dr. Christina, always a joy to share any day with you, and mother of all cats for sure is Dr. Christina. Giving us sound today is Ed. Thank you very much. Giving us the visuals is Marv. And as I look around the room, I see our camera people just doing a wonderful job. And also inside our editing room, my goodness, we have got all sorts of individuals that are doing the decisions. Cut this, cut that. And I want you to know, here's some of the names that are on our live streaming right now. We got Daniel Pikopoulos. We love you. It's time for you to take your seat back in the front row, Daniel. And we got Roger from Florida. We have got Cher from South Carolina. We got Kelly Spieg. We've got Stacy Small, who's on book tour in Hawaii right now. We got Darla, Tess, and the list goes on. And my goodness, we are touching more individuals than you'll ever begin to know. There are literally hundreds on watching us through the course of the week and online now. And the conversation, what's going on here is making a difference. And I thank you from the fullness of my heart. I continue to hear the stories and the prayer requests. And you guys at home, keep sending in your notes, your emails, your contributions so we can continue to help fund this wonderful ministry. But there's a lot going on at Seaside. You may have noticed that Friday is the Seaside Sisters Spirit Groove, where the dancing goes on in the family room. Also, Saturday is the men's group that is happening. Also, Lisa Nichols, you saw, man, what a powerful video that was up there. It made me want her to come now. But Lisa Nichols is literally one of the top requested inspirational speakers on this planet. She's going to be at Seaside. We fully intend to sell out. You can go VIP and be up and close and personal with her in the garden, have some food and music and conversations with her at that point. General seating, but the VIP tickets, you get preferred seats and parking and all sorts of things. But you want to be here. It's definitely something you want to bring a friend to. So come be part of that for sure. Our kids, hey, what's going on here? Anybody want to share about Mother's Day? Yes. There you go. Man, I've got a couple future ministers here. I like this.
We did for Mother's Day, we wrote our names on a card, and everyone else made a bracelet for our mothers.
Nice. Butterfly bracelet. I heard my son Trevor in the back room even's got one for Mom. Oh, you're not supposed to know that one.
We made cards.
Yeah.
And we read a book.
Nice. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, let me come down here then. All right. There we go.
We also made some little pictures. I did mine rainbow.
Oh, very nice.
Here's the rainbow hair, rainbow words, and a beautiful heart. If I had enough time, I could have made the outer side rainbow, but when I get home, I'll make the inner background
nice
rainbow.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, come on. You want to come here? Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Today, we're going to give our mother this thing that's like this. You have to read it.
Yeah. What is it going to say?
Well, it's saying something about mothers and a butterfly.
Oh, very nice. Bet your mom can't wait to hear about that. Hey, let's say together for our children, we see you, we love you, and we support you in your magnificence. All right. Woo. Hey, last thing we got going on, as you know, is Gourmets for God. Invite you to sign up for it out on the table. And what we're doing this week is we're asking individuals to open up your home for a meal to share with some friends. Maybe you got 6 places at your table, and it just creates wonderful conversation, and it creates relationships that are lasting, and it helps fund Seaside in the summertime a little bit. And so what are we making here today?
We're going to make a momlet.
A momlet. No, I think you get the way. Yeah, no, you're on it today, man. Okay, all right. Here we go. So you tie that, and I owe you a few. So you got to wear this like I have for weeks.
So you just crack these like
Okay, I'll do that for sure. So, yeah. How do we do this? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't do it right. But it never looks right on me. So now, should I put the mustache on her too? No. How about the hat?
No hat.
Okay. All right. So we're making an omelet. We're going to crack this omelet.
Oh, one hand. Look there.
Woo! Why did I do that? There you go. And you crack that. And put that in there. And wipe it off on here. Excuse me. Okay. And then... Okay, and then I pour that, not this one. I did that at the first service, and they never got to eat it. So, yeah. Okay, a little cheese. How much? How much? About that much? Yeah. No, you're not fun. Where's the salt and pepper?
There's a lot of salt in the feta. We're doing feta cheese.
Oh, okay.
The band liked it.
There you go. There, okay. So we didn't get to flip it at the first service.
Okay, so we're going to try to flip it around. Hang on. I'm going to do this.
That looks good.
What? Then I go like this. This is the crazy part. So you go like this. Then, I'm doing it left-handed.
Hey! Woo! That's high tech. That's why I didn't get to do it. That's good. Susan Sullivan, she's the one putting on our Gourmets for God this year. You see her standing out there every week. Just stop by and have a conversation with her. So, yeah, that's smart not to... Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pray right now. So let the band eat. They haven't eaten since midnight last night. So anyway, I'm going to pray. So I invite you to join me in this place, into that field, if you would. That place where there's something that is felt, that it is joy. You know, if you're not in joy, missing the point. Joy, infallible sign of the presence of God, in love. In that field. You can never actually get out of it. So what I do is I drop my expectations, my judgment, my categorization of the way it is supposed to be and allow myself to move with this wonderful river of experiences, feeling and enjoying and stepping up to a higher place where I begin to be that place where the divine download has its way, for that infinite intelligence, that joy, that life force, that abundance, that first cause, that essence, that pulse, that divine expression, that birthing from the darkness of the womb into the light. I enter into this field with a sense of connectedness, of relevance, with a sense of resonance. I'm part of this resonant field, that I become that vortex, that expression, that verbalization of the kingdom of heaven made manifest for each and every one of us. For every member of this spiritual community, every friend that comes through these doors, I know right now that there is a moving to a greater conscious connection from those elevated upper atmosphere of awareness of the divine that begins to find expression into our world of form at this time. For with spirit, all things are possible. And what I know is love is that connecting energy, that essence that moves us ever higher out of the darkness, out of the heaviness. And so if there's anything going on in life right now that is less than the joy, the love, the light, I know that it is the human experience. It's going on, but it is not the spiritual truth. And so in this moment, I stand in that light and flip that switch beyond the flashlight, the switch that reveals the fullness, the wholeness of life itself, of God, of the kingdom that we are already in. We don't die to enter in. We have been born in heaven. And so it's in this place that the creative expression that seeks to move through each and every one of us finds clear passage. We find ourselves creative once again, allowing that flow of the infinite to particularize its expression in our life. And that water or that energy takes on the form of the new container of our being. For the life within has not changed. Its expression in this world of wholeness and joy, creativity, of self-expression, of abundance is what begins to shift. The programming has moved to a new place, and the relationships begin to be those that are deep and profound and intimate and juicy and wonderful, and connectedness and intimacy is expressed, and integrity conveyed, and love known. And in our world, we walk with a conviction and a courageousness, knowing that Spirit goes before us and makes the crooked way straight. for the wondrous Spirit opens up the floodgates of greater good to source those visions and those ideas of the new story that we have been courageous enough to speak, that we live in that affluent flow, that abundance of life itself, and healing happens, freedom is experienced, a sense of security is known, and a peace resides at the center of our being. And so on this day, this Mother's Day, there is such a sense of gratitude for the one who became the channel through which we entered this world, someone called Mom, who loved and guided us at the highest level of that ability of her being. Some soul agreement that was made before ever entering into this world was fulfilled, and I say thank you. And knowing that that love connection does not become any weaker or less than, whether I'm in the physical form or out of it, whether Mom is here or Mom is there, that love energy transcends time and space, and I am as connected as ever before with the love that brought me forth. And so I'm grateful to walk this world with an ever elevated perspective, looking out and seeing as Spirit sees. And I look upon the prayer requests brought to our chest this week, knowing that they are fulfilled, that they are finding direct expression in the lives of the requestees, for God moves within the world of those that have reached out and has offered that hand for those to step up to that new mat, to that new place. I'm grateful the words I've spoken are the truth, manifesting, happening, expressing, unfolding here and now. There's a law that cannot return them void, but fulfills them for which they have been sent. And so I let go to that. I trust that. I believe with an unshakable conviction in the divine right action that is having its way as I have let go in this moment, in this field, with a deep trust and knowingness that all is well. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged and you are struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. Let it go. Bye-bye. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Seaside, sing it from your heart. That's right. Uh-huh. That's right. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yeah.
Missed you. Hey, our affirmation is love inspires and transforms my life. Together, love inspires and transforms my life. Touch your heart and say it again. Love inspires and transforms my life. One more time now that we know it. Love inspires and transforms my life. And our song of grace.
I'm living in peace. There we go. I'm living my life for what I believe. Through joys and through fears, in this world I walk. God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in faith. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living